Good morning. Today is the 29th of October 2024 and I'm going to go through my trading plan and watch list for today. As always, before we start, let's take a look and see what could be moving the market. 8:30 we had goods, trade balance, retail inventories, wholesale inventories, and what did we see at 8:30? Just quickly have a quick look. My clock time's all out at the moment. 8:30 we had that. No, nothing really moved. A little tiny red candle. So hardly any reaction to the 8:30 news today. We've got news 9 o'clock, and next news we've got job openings at 10 AM. So keep an eye at 10 AM today. That is a 3 out of 3, so we could see some market movement. And that's it really for the rest of the day. Yesterday was a bit of a quiet day. Let's look at the daily and just clear the charts. So daily, small inside candle, reduced volume. One thing to note as well, there was a nice top in tail. It's another sign of weakness. That's 2 top in tail days in a row, and an indecision day. These 2 candles here, an indecision day inside a red candle as well. One thing we've not done yet, and that is break down below that hourly trend line. So we've got our trend line is roughly in this area, so we're right there. So volume is higher than usual on the red days, and it's below average on the green days, but they are smaller candles as well, so you kind of expect that. And we've been talking about signs of weakness for some time. We had this top and tail candle, the big red candle taken out the previous day, and then we had these bottom tail candles, which were once all red candles before they put in a bit of a recovery and put the tails in. So the signs are there. Our next key area we're watching for is the break of this trend line. So that's where we are right now. We're coming into that trend line now on the daily, so let's go down to the hourly and let's see where we are. So I'm going to tidy things up a little bit. We're going to ditch that trend line, we're going to ditch this trend line. It's good for reference. Wrong one. This trend line there. We've got this hourly trend line, so let's just regroup a bit. Let's use the more recent. Let's go down to there. So let's keep it more. I like using more recent pivots. So we can keep an eye on. You can see it. I'm going to stick with that pivot there. So we've got a potential bounce coming up in this trend line area, and it happens to be an area of confidence we've been watching. A little bit of volume here where we've got the pivots. And obviously we put in this trend as well. So let's just draw that in properly, and you can see that's broken. So this is the hourly trend over the last few days, and this is the hourly or more of a daily trend line here. So we came through, came back, retested that area, broke down, and now this is the key area we're watching for. So I do quite like the bounce if we can get back down into this region, and that's around, why does it say 120? Let's go back to regular. Save. So I do quite like the bounce around 58.40. That's an area I'm watching. Ultimately, I prefer the bounce back down in this region. Big area of confluence. Oh, let's go to rectangle. We've got this big area of confluence where we've had tops of candles, bottoms of candles, bottoms of candles. You could also take in that bottom there. For 58.10, 58.20 is a bounce point as well. As for rejections, we could keep an eye on the break and retest of pre-market low, and we can also watch. I still quite like this area up here for the rejection as well. So 58.94 to 5900. It's a psychological number as well. So let's keep an eye on that area. 1 second. Just making sure the stream is live because I didn't check before I came on. Yep, seems okay. So just to recap the areas I'm watching mainly for a bounce down in this region, 5800 down to 5810. I'm watching for a higher risk bounce in this region, and that's around 5840. I'm looking for a break and retest along a pre-market high around 5870, and we can then watch for a potential short yesterday's high. Got this area of confluence as well, tops of pivots, bottoms of pivots, tops are where the floor became the ceiling, here. So if we do watch long, we can use this as a target area, yesterday's high, and then in particular I do like this area here for a rejection as well, 5894 to 5900. So they're the key areas. Obviously we've got this big region down here, which is, we're a long way off that, so we won't even consider that for now. So these are the levels I'm watching today on the ES. Ideally I would like to see a break of this trend line and a retest into pre-market high low, and that's the short I'll be looking for. So we could be watching two areas here, watch for the bounce and watch for the break and retest into that region. And volume wise, we have a little bit of volume up here. You can see a volume shelf there. We have a volume shelf here as well, and that's around pre-market high area, so potentially it will be hard trying to get through, but we can use that as a break and retest. And then a little bit of a volume shelf at that point, which is the area we're watching within this zone here, 5830. Let's clean that. And then we've got our biggest volume shelf down here, the point of control, and that's the reason I kind of like 5800 for the bounce, this region here, that region there. Okay, moving on to SPY next. We will flick back to order flow. Let's quickly look at order flow first. Go to my order flow screen. So on this screen we're potentially looking at, that's all in line really. We've got the price is trending downwards, cumulative delta is trending downwards. Where do we say our bounce area is going to be if we watch for a bounce? Yeah, we're way up at 5840, so we're way off from that area. And there's nothing really untoward, everything looks okay. Large orders are in place there as well. As you can see, potential limit orders setting up. These are potential areas. 5880, we talked about that area, didn't we? Which is yesterday's high. 5880, yeah, just before. So you can see there's some large orders sitting at 5880, but it's pre-market, so we won't know about that until the market opens. So that's a potential short area which I was watching, and yeah, there's nothing else really. Looking pretty normal and as expected. Okay, going back to the SPY now then. SPY is exactly the same. I like this region here, 574.50 to 575 for the bounce. I may just move this zone, but this is the region I'm liking. All right, it's quite a big region, so if we get down into this region, a bit like this trade here, I don't want to be taking it until it gets back out of that region. So I'll be looking for an entry, maybe a break, a retest into that region, or even a RBI or a GBI. It would be an RBI down here. I like this region, 582.50 area for potential rejection if we get into that region. That's yesterday's high as well, and obviously we've got this region up here, 584 to 585 as a potential rejection area. And we can keep an eye on pre-market high for the break and retest into that region, and watch pre-market low for the break and retest short. And again, as with ES, we've got this trend line for the last few days. You could say we're at it right now. Are we going to break it? We'll find out. Don't forget, news is at 10, so if that news is big enough, it could be the catalyst needed to break down through those trend lines. SPX, pretty much the same as it has been. Any regions of interest? No, 5800, it's key area, area confluence as well. You can see a big volume shelf above 5800, so 5810 is an area to watch as well, this region, for a potential bounce. We're opening a little bit lower than we closed yesterday, so we can watch this area for a bounce if we're looking for a bounce on the ES. Otherwise, we've got this region as well. This is my favourite region on SPX. Area confluence, where it was the ceiling, became the floor, and continued to be the floor, and now the 200 moving average is moving into that area as well. So 57.70 we can watch also for a bounce. And rejection wise, we've got this region above here as well. We can keep an eye on that region. 58.70 for the rejection. NQ. Again, we'll start clearing some of these lines shortly. Let's do that now. Let's look at the bigger trend. So we've got this hourly trend here, and it depends on how you want to draw it in. You could say that pivot there, using the most recent, like that, and then we're kind of linking. I'm basically linking the two pivots together, the last two we've had. So we've got a trend line we can watch for a potential bounce if we do get down into this region. Extra confirmation is a volume shelf up here. We've got areas of confluence, the level we've been watching. You can see just how clear those areas are there. So 2300 for the bounce. Break and retest of pre-market low into that area. The long break and retest of pre-market high long. And then we've got this region up here for rejection, which is 2600. QQQ, exactly the same, similar trend line as well. Let's get rid of these, we don't need them anymore. So let's watch 500 is the most logical place for the rejection, and it's a psychological number. Even though we're not at all-time highs, we've not got over it in recent days. So that's a rejection area, and a bounce area. I still quite like this region down here, 487 to 489 to 490. All this region down here. It's a big area, so we need to play that separately and just keep an eye on that. Otherwise, let's just draw some trend lines in. We've broken. Just drawing the most recent ones in for the last few days. Oh, no, nothing really. I don't like it. It's really hard trying to find anything down here to watch for a bounce. Yeah, the only bounce there is this area of confluence, this zone. So let's keep an eye on this zone. I know we broke through it once and we retested that zone, so I still quite like this zone for the bounce, and that's at 490. And obviously we're watching 500 as well. These are the two areas we really want. We want to get out of. We basically want to get out of this zone we've been trading in. So either watching for a rejection up here, or a bounce down here. And if we lose the zones, then we can look for a break and retest a trend entry into new all-time highs, or a down trend entry, down testing the levels below. Crude oil had a bit of a bad day last few days. It's given back a little bit, and look at these levels again. We said keep an eye on the levels, because the levels of crude oil really do work really well. Came down, we bounced there, that's the level there. So if we can get back down to that level, we can watch 66.43. Let's get a bit closer. So let's watch also 67.13, this area for a bounce. If we get a bounce down there, potentially we're looking at an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which brings me onto this next level here. Yesterday's high, we tried to break above it, rejected it. So if we come back into that area, watch for a break and retest long. We can also watch it for rejection as well. We could just see it be doing something like this. And then break and retest a pre-market high over this 50 moving average, and we've got our first target, which will be bottoms of these pivots, and eventually we've got the gap fill to watch if we are going to have a bit of a strong move in the next few days. Plenty of volume in this area as well, as you can see down here. So let's keep an eye on this. Let's watch for the bounce back down at pre-market low, yesterday's low area, 67.33 bounce, or if we lose it, a break and retest short. Gold is up next, which has been pretty bullish and still is pretty bullish. Look at that. Right at that pivot point, rejected it once, breaking out, putting in this region of consolidation. So it's just letting the moving averages have time to catch up, and then we may see another breakout again. So keep an eye on that. If it breaks out, it might be a swing entry, might be a break and retest into the previous all-time highs. Bounce wise, got a clear level here at 2730, and we've got a higher risk bounce area. Excuse me, yesterday's high or pre-market low at 2760 area for the bounce. RTY coming to that level. Look at that, rejected it totally. I know we had the level there. We can probably draw in a second level now based on previous pivots. We've got, it's not very good area of confidence. We have got a top pivot there as well. It's an area, it's a rough area of confidence, a little bit of volume. If we break over pre-market high and we come back and retest either the pre-market high, yesterday's high, or even this 200 moving average, that region, quite like it for a long. You can see a bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern we've been talking about. Retest, and we've broken the neckline. We come back and we retested the neckline, so this is the neckline here. So it depends on where you want the head and shoulders to be. It could be head and shoulders like that, but we have got increasing pivots as well. We could say it's even that pattern. You know, with a bit of a downtrend, more likely to go that way, but it looks like it's gone the other direction. But we are retesting this neckline here, so we can watch for a bounce around pre-market low area where we are right now. Otherwise the next bounce I wouldn't watch until we get down to 2221. And now YM, which is the Dow Jones. You can see it's starting to curve a little bit now on a downtrend. We've broken that trend. We're coming back to retest this area. Quite like the break and retest of pre-market high or even yesterday's high into that area as a target, 42,800. And I do still quite like the bounce at 42, psychological number. But again, we could be looking at a head and shoulders pattern here. Depends on how you want to see the shoulder. And then finally, Bitcoin, which has finally broken 70,000. We've been talking about this for some time now. Let's go back to the daily. It's nice when you see a pattern months and months in advance, and it plays out exactly how you've been talking about almost every day. So we've got this cup and handle pattern. It's a really bullish sign, and we've been trading there. You can see where I've been taking profits, and then I've been adding back in, waiting for, anticipating this breakout. My next target to take profit will be previous all-time highs area. We're getting close to it now, so I'm going to probably take out 50% of what I've got up here, and then if it breaks out, I'll be looking to take more out, and then waiting for the pullbacks to add back into that position. As for plays today, let's go to the hourly. If we were to play this on the hourly, then all we've got is the break and retest. So we need to retest 70,000. Look at that, yesterday's high was exactly 70,000. So talk about a number we've been waiting for. So if it breaks and retests 70,000, let's look for a long. Otherwise, we can watch 73 or previous all-time high, 73 to 74 for the rejection. Depends how strong we're going to be. I would probably be more inclined to play the trend rather than the rejection. So I'll be looking for a trend entry to add to my position. And if we get up here, I will be taking some profits off. and that's been an accumulation of buying little small amounts of Bitcoin, not much, over a period of the last couple of years. So I started buying when it was about here, and I just kept buying all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and even when it started changing direction, I still carried on buying. So my average price is well down here. It is, that's my average price area, about 20,000. And then this year I started buying a bit more on every dip, and then these are literally small amounts through my bank, and then I didn't start taking profits until we got back to all-time highs, as you can see. In fact, I was using volume to take my profits. Where there's big volume coming in, that's when I knew the market was changing direction, and it did. So this trade worked out exactly as it is. And look at volume there. I missed that volume. I meant to buy in down here. I had my alert as well, and I still missed it. I think I was away on holiday that week actually. But these are the volumes. You can see big spikes in volume, so that's where I took out profits on each of these volume spikes. And the volume doesn't compare to March this year to what it's been like recently. Got a slight increase of volume, so I won't be taken out until I see another volume spike like that. Look at RSI as well. RSI was really, really overbought as well. And we're not near there. We're just getting into the overbought area, but nowhere near me wanting to take profit just yet. Okay, that's it. We've looked at ES, we looked at the order flow. There's a little bit of divergence on the order flow right now, so let's flick back to the order flow screen, and you can see we've got decline in price, and we've had decline in cumulative delta, but look at the price. We've got a pivot there and we've yet to break below that pivot, so we've got this area here. However, order flow is just putting in new lows. So what does that mean? Potentially we've got the sellers, so potentially we've got a little bit of exhaustion in the selling, where the sellers are not pulling it down as far as what you can see. Big sell orders, but no follow through with the candle. So potentially we may be looking at a reversal, maybe. Just see what happens when the market opens, which it opens in about 3 minutes. Anyway, trade safe, and I will be back tomorrow at 9 AM Eastern time, and here in the UK it's an hour earlier because of the clocks going back, so I'll be back here at 1 PM UK time. Okay, the order flow stream which you're looking at now is also